Most runners understand hard days. We know the workout, we know the splits, we know the long run route. We know exactly how to make ourselves tired. But a lot of runners are surprisingly bad at the thing that makes training work, which is rest.
The truth of the matter is that you do not get faster during the workout. You actually only get faster when your body absorbs the workout. And if you skip that part, the absorption phase, if you will, you're basically collecting fatigue instead of fitness.
So today we're talking about the difference between a rest day and a recovery day, why runners need both of those things, and how to make your rest days actually help you run faster and better.
The big idea here is that rest is training. Runners love to think of training as all the stuff that looks active, right? Running and lifting and drills and strides and mobility and cross training. But drumroll, fitness only actualizes through the recovery phase. And that means adaptations happen after the stress and the work itself.
Yeah, so the workout creates the stress. Rest gives your body that chance to respond to the stress. And then that response is what improves fitness. So it is a little cycle. So recovery is not just the absence of training. It's an active biological process where your nervous system is adapting and has the chance to recalibrate to support the adaptations which lead to more fitness. You know, we often talk about training as making deposits. This is one of your favorite things to say, I think. And so I really
building that bank account.
That's right. So I really love this idea. Like if we can have a mindset shift, if instead of thinking like I'm taking a rest day, I'm losing fitness because I'm not running today, you know, the better way to think of that is through the deposits reference. So today is a day where my body gets to cash the check from all of the work that I've already did.
Yeah, you can't pull stuff out until you let it sit in the bank for a hot second.
Yeah.
It's got to actually hit the account.
Okay. I love that.
So rest day versus recovery day. This is where everything gets confused. And I think that runners sometimes use this vagueness between the two terms, not to their advantage, but to kind of like use and abuse actually taking time off. So let's talk about what the actual difference is. A rest day means no structured training. So no run, most importantly, no run, right? Not even an easy run. It's a full, complete day off of training. Think of that rest day as truly like a reset, right? We have to reduce that total physical and mental load in order to have that reset. You don't have to sit totally still though, of course, on your rest day. Like you can walk the dog or 3 pugs if that's what you have. You can do normal life stuff. You don't have to be a total couch potato. You can stretch lightly if that feels good. You can maybe foam roll, but the goal is to really let your body chill out and not create another workout. A true rest day should leave you feeling like your body got a break. And I would add that maybe like mentally, you're a little freaked out about it, right? You're like, I should have done something. That means you're probably, yay, you did rest day right. I'm gonna have a small soapbox here.
Do it.
This is why periodized training is so important. And working with either a coach or someone who you write to trust to write these plans and implement them, as well as giving yourself enough runway to do them. Most people, in my opinion, that take their rest day and they just ruin it are people that either are using maybe plans that aren't tried and tested, or they started with too short of a runway, so they're trying to cram and cram and cram and cram. And this is literally how you get hurt and burned out and cannot ever have kind of that great race day, because you have to have bandwidth and runway in order to use your rest days really to their advantage. And without them, your fitness never actualizes.
Yeah, let me say one of my favorite things. You cannot cram for a race.
Yeah, and this is why, because you have to have the rest day to let it set in.
Okay, so that was a rest day. A recovery day, on the other hand, is something that usually does include some easy movement. So we're talking like easy bike, an easy run, gentle mobility or yoga, a light walk or a hike, something maybe like a very relaxed strength training or activation workout, depending on your plan. But the key word here is easy. It has to be easy. We tend to think of these as coaches as flushing your muscles.
Yeah, flush the mush.
That's right.
Flush the mush.
It should be something that is helping to promote further recovery, not piling on extra strain.
Like a good rule of thumb on this is you should be able to like have this conversation the whole time. right? You should never be like truly out of breath. I also love it when it's non-weight bearing. So if I really have like a heavier load, I'm going to give somebody like a swim or a bike or a row just so that they can, again, kind of flush and get some motion in, but not further tax their legs specifically when it comes to like a marathon build.
Most runners move in one plane of motion.
Yep.
We are only moving forward. So anything that we can do that is challenging our body in a different way, but isn't going to leave a huge mark is a win. So the cycling, the rowing is a great one, super great workout, but working the backside of our bodies that we don't often do as runners, but we need. So a simple distinction here is that rest days are no training stress and recovery days are very low training stress.
Runners mess this up all the time. First is that runners are also often going to turn recovery days into actual workouts, right? Easy running is boring. They feel like they're doing something wrong, right? Ego gets in the way 100%. This is where I hate all the online stuff because like I celebrate Easy AF. I'm like, great work. You're letting everything set in, but you see those numbers and you become, a little bit, for whatever reason, embarrassed by them. And then you try to run too fast, right? Peer pressure. You're running with your friends and you jump into their training session because why not? Like all of those things actually are negating any type of recovery day that you might actually be taking. Another common mistake that we see is treating rest days like punishment. Like I didn't earn this or I'm being lazy. But rest is not a moral issue, right? Let's say that again. Rest is not a moral issue. Rest is not laziness, it's not weakness, it's not falling behind. You have to have the rest in order to use the fitness, otherwise you're just accumulating fatigue.
Yeah, so think of rest as a performance tool.
It can't be said enough. Like you have to have these necessary periods of complete down so your body does not break down. It's no different than us programming 3 build weeks and 1 cutback week, right? But we have to have that cutback, just like with taper, right? Nobody questions taper. You got to have taper to have fresh legs. So you sure as heck need in those microcycles, i.e. your weeks or 10 days at a time, to have the complete off days programmed in.
Yeah, because here's the thing. All of the great training in the world does not matter if you show up to race day injured or exhausted.
I say this quote till I'm blue in the face. I would rather have an athlete 10% undertrained than 1% overtrained every time. I would always rather have them toe the line with not having everything done perfectly than having done too much. Because as soon as you cross over to too much, you don't get to reliably use the fitness that you did get. What happens when you actually rest? This is some good visuals. First up, your muscles repair. We know this, right? Running creates stress in muscles, tendons, bones, ligaments, connective tissue, all of the above. Recovery and taking true rest allows those tissues to rebuild and get stronger. It is much, much harder for them to get stronger if you continually tax them. And the whole point is them getting stronger.
It also helps your nervous system calm down. This one is so important, but so overlooked from runners because hard training keeps your body in a more activated state. And I think, we're in an activated state in this world right now.
Yes. Right? 2026, hear me.
Stress is stress is stress. And life stress and work stress and family stress is all stress in your body that activates your nervous system. Running is another stressor. And so intentional rest helps you shift towards parasympathetic nervous system in that sort of rest, digest, and repair mode.
Fun tip on this one. This is also why on a rest day or even during a recovery week, you might be hella hungry because when your parasympathetic side is like, all right, we're catching up. Literally, your body is like, well, give me things to help me rebuild. So respect that, right? There's a reason you're hungry.
And we're going to talk more about that in the tips coming up.
Your brain gets a freaking break, right? Training is not just physical, planning workouts, tracking paces, making sure that you complete all of your inputs on training peaks, thinking about all the goals, that all takes mental energy. So giving yourself a hot second to just go to the farmer's market and put your feet up and read a book for a few hours on a rest day means that your brain is going to thank you.
All right, here's another big one is your hormones, your immune system, and your mood get support. Poor recovery often shows up as irritability. Ask your partner and your family members. Ask your coworkers.
Brian.
Poor Brian.
Poor Brian.
It shows up as heavy legs, maybe bad sleep. Loss of motivation is a huge one. Or feeling like every run is way harder than it should be. And I think for our recreational runners of a certain age, this is also something to really think about is we don't really think about our hormones all that much until there's an issue. And when we are constantly in these states of stress, it can really impact the way our hormones and our immune system work.
Let's talk about the signs that you might need a rest day instead of a recovery day, right? Because rest is like you ain't doing nothing except for daily walking around. Recovery is that there might be some light activity. First is your easy pace feels weirdly hard. Like if you're running and you're like doing true easy AF and your heart rate is high and you just feel super dead-legged and it doesn't really change, you're due for a rest day.
If your resting heart rate is elevated or your HRV is unusually low,
if you feel unusually cranky or flat or unmotivated, sometimes the first sign of fatigue is not physical, it's actually emotional. So that might be a great time for a rest day.
if you're negotiating with yourself before every run, like, everybody has these days, like, I'd rather stay in bed today. It's cold, it's rainy, I want to sleep in. But if it's more like, I can't imagine having to run again today, then you are in a bad place. Probably need that rest day.
If you have soreness or like some type of physical limitation that is actually physically altering how you're moving and your stride, like you're limping or you're compensating or you're protecting something, that's going to be a great sign that you just need to give yourself a freaking rest day to get things to calm down and then reassess.
And if you're sick, you definitely should take a rest day.
So how often should runners take rest days, right? Depends on the runner, right? So beginner runners, absolutely, as they're learning about volumes and increasing and doing things that their body's never done before, they're going to need more frequent rest days. You kind of said a little bit of this as well with masters runners. We might need, which is 40 plus, hey, you might need more recovery between hard sessions. And I know I've talked about this even with endurance athletes that are in their 30s, like you do not heal the same way. I love it because it frankly keeps us more accountable to rest day and making sure that we respect that phase. But you absolutely are going to need, your body's not creating cells quite as frequently. So you're going to need a little bit more TLC. Injury prone runners, you know who you are. You are going to always do better with planned rest. And of course, higher mileage runners, they could use more easy and recovery days and fewer total rest days. So this really, in my opinion, only applies to people that have been running a very long time and have a healthy relationship with the sport and maybe ran collegiately. Mm-hmm. My athletes that take, one day off every 2 weeks are very few and far between, right? And even they have, I would say, a higher proportion of recovery effort days than ones that have a true rest day.
I love what you said. The planned rest piece is so important because if we plan it and make it intentional, it becomes easier to take that day because it's part of the plan. It's what we are supposed to be doing to make progress. So that's a good mind shift.
So what does that mean numerically, right? When we're talking about beginner, intermediate, advanced. So from a beginner runner, we're talking probably 2 to 3 rest days a week. As their bodies are learning to do new things and reach new volumes, we want to really respect that and give them more time off in between and obviously doing less back-to-back efforts. Intermediate runners, at least 1, sometimes 2 per week. I love on a recovery week to give 2 rest days, and definitely during like week 2 of taper, they're going to get a bonus rest day in there. And then advanced runners, 0 to 1 rest days per week, but only if your easy days are truly easy. Again, if the recovery tips into hard territory, then you're going to have to take off a rest day, but definitely 1 rest day every 2 to 3 weeks. Again, that's only for people that have been carrying very healthy, higher volumes for a long time. Do not just start doing this right off the bat. It will not end well for you.
All right, here's the catch though. Your training age matters, your life stress matters, your sleep definitely matters, your nutrition matters, your injury history matters. So there are a lot of other factors aside from your level of like beginner, intermediate, advanced that play into whether or not you need more rest days.
So a runner training 5 days a week with great sleep might actually recover better than a runner training 4 days a week and sleeping 5 hours and traveling and working long hours and having crazy family stress and living on iced coffee and vibes. So, it is your body, stress is stress is stress. It takes whatever stress you're giving it and it is a multiplier. So if you have a higher life stress volume and a lower training load, it actually kind of equates to more overall stress, which means you're going to need some hefty rest.
Okay, so let's give you some tips on how to actually improve your rest days. Tip number 1, stop making rest days random. Your rest day should be a part of your plan, right? Just like we plan our long run, we put it on the calendar, we know why it's there, and then we should protect those rest days.
Hot tip on this one is I have my athletes for one-on-one coaching. I have them straight up just tell me the day of the week that they want off. Like, when are you heaviest maybe with work? When are you doing Mother's Day stuff? Like, what day do you want off? And then we are just I am going to slide over that day off and make sure that it's anchored. And that way you have a lot of power over it too, right? Mm-hmm. Here are some good times for some, a true rest day after a long run. So if you're doing on a Saturday, doing a rest day on a Sunday. After a hard workout, if let's say tempo is your hardest workout of the week, it's Tuesday, taking Wednesday as a rest day. Before a key workout, if you need freshness, right? This is going to be huge. I have a lot of people that take Monday off and then they slay their Tuesday tempos for that very reason. Mm-hmm. During a cutback week, you might need two. Mm-hmm. Right? That might be a great time. And then when life stress is unusually high, we're not telling you to go gangbusters with rest days, but just check yourself. If you're the person who typically does too much, and if your life load is super high, you might be due to sneak another one in.
Tip number 2, do a quick rest day check-in. So journaling on rest days is awesome.
Tip 3 is to take a mental break from being a runner. On your rest day, don't even think about yourself being a runner, right? This one is sneaky important. So on this rest day, please take a break. Don't analyze. Do not spend time doom scrolling on your phone, especially on Strava or anything comparing yourself. Don't analyze your splits for the 47th time. Do not rebuild your race plan, especially if you're in taper. Don't scroll a gazillion hours of running content, and don't linger in that run club chat. I know you want to, but don't do it. Don't compare your rest day to someone else's either. Like, just you do you, boo, right? Mm-hmm. Big translation here. Just be a person, be a human, have a hobby, take up knitting, pet a pug, call a friend, watch something dumb, put your feet up, let your brain stop wearing a Garmin for a few hours and just chill out. All right, tip 4 is to do something low stakes that you're kind of bad at, right? This is me with bowling. It's actually a really fun one though to think of. Mm-hmm. Do something where the goal has nothing to do with how well you do it or the performance itself. So like paint badly. Take a language app. I am horrible at Spanish. I'm almost up to level 19 though. Bake something weird, try a craft, maybe call me. A girl loves a craft.
The point here is to get out of achievement mode, because so much of running is about measuring our data. And so we want to shift away from that. Tip number 5 is to prioritize sleep, hydration, and nutrition. We talk about this all the time, but a lot of runners underfuel, either accidentally or on purpose, I'd say, on rest days, because they think, I didn't run today, so I don't need to eat as much, right? And it's one day in your training cycle, like this is different than being like in the off season, right? In your base building.
This is you're actively in season.
You're actively in season, you're taking one day of not running. You still need to fuel your body because your body is actively repairing your muscles. And so you need to be eating to support that.
You can focus on, we love a protein moment, right? You're literally rebuilding your muscles. Put some protein in, please, sweet baby Jesus. Carbs, we know this one. They're probably going to be depleted because you're a runner. So focusing on quality carbs going in. Fruits and veggies. I love a fruit and veggie moment. It ticks so many boxes. It's hydrating. It has a lot of them have a healthy dose of carbohydrates, and of course micronutrients. The more colorful, the better. And hydration, not just water, right? Making sure that there are some electrolyte components in there. You don't need like super sugary juices, right? But there's a lot that you can put in that is going to help your body rebuild.
And don't forget sleep. We know that sleep is our number one recovery tool. Sleep really matters for not just general health, but also emotional well-being. For athletes, sleep supports recovery, performance, learning, which is actually really important as a runner.
Yeah, you got to be able to absorb your information.
That's right, and overall readiness to perform.
What not to do on rest day. First up, don't panic about losing fitness, and do not text your coach about panicking about losing fitness. One day off is not going to ruin your training, and in a lot of cases, it's going to make your next session better. So think of it like that insurance plan.
Don't turn your rest day into the chore Olympics. If your rest day becomes grocery shopping, laundry, deep cleaning, errands, yard work, standing for 7 hours, that's not actually recovery.
So to recap, rest days and recovery days are not the same thing.
Recovery day is easy movement. A rest day is no structured training.
Both can be useful and both have a place in your training cycle. The runners who improve the most are not always the ones who can suffer the most, right? I definitely think that people get that wrong all the time. The ones that make the most gains are the ones who can absorb the most, and absorption requires recovery.
And if you want more information about cheap and easy ways to recover, check out this video right here for our hacks.